Hey everyone, Charting Man Dan from ChartGuys.com. You know, behind every single video that we put out every single day, there's a wonderful community of traders that we want to invite you to be a part of. Try the free 7-day trial and gain access to our live market broadcasts every morning and afternoon, interact with hundreds of like-minded traders, or take part in one of our dedicated chat rooms, each led by an analyst that's there to answer your questions in real time. Our trial is risk-free with absolutely no commitment or credit card required to experience the TCG community. For those looking for a head start in technical analysis, check out our entries and exits course in the link below in the description. Get up to speed with the fundamentals of TCG technical analysis and experience over 5 hours of great community-driven trading education. Hello everyone, checking back in on the Canadian MJ space. It's been a while, so if you're long, you're just sitting tight and obviously not liking the slow bleed to the downside, but confident that in a couple years it will turn around. I'm certainly confident of that as well. Right now, we are all over the cryptocurrency space. A lot of Canadian MJ players have come along as well, and we're going to be moving our profits back into this sector when the time is right. And I am now very, very closely watching for trend changes on the weekly, longer-term time frame. And we know time is a factor here in the sense that the closer we get to 2018, the closer that uptrend is going to begin, in my opinion. So you better believe that there is a lot of cryptocurrency profits that are going to come back into this space, and mine will be among them. So as of this point, we are still seeing weakness. We're seeing the bulls attempt to defend some support here at the end of the week, and we can see we're in a situation right now that we're in such a clear downtrend of lower highs and lower lows that it's up to the bulls to prove to us that they are regaining strength. We're not going to give them any benefit of the doubt. We have to see strength and follow through. And personally, I'm going to give up a little bit of the reward. I'm not going to try and time the bottom. I'm going to wait until I am confident that a new uptrend has begun, that the profit taking and the downside is over, and that we're going to start an uptrend heading into 2018 and heading into legalization. So WEED is defending support. We had our dump low down here in May of 737, and then we pulled back again and we bounced off of 753. So that is a higher low, but this one green candlestick isn't enough. We're still forming lower highs. We're still rejecting from daily exponential resistances. We haven't closed above the 8-period daily exponential resistance in over a month, 5 weeks now at this point. So it's very clear that the bears are still in control. We have not seen 2 solid green days in a row since back April 19th, another 5 weeks. So we have to see another green day on Monday, and ideally we have to break 883, because if we break 883, we have our low, our high, higher low, and then a higher high if we can break 883. That middle Bollinger Band is also very key. We've only been above that level 1 day in the past 2 months. That's going to be dropping down into the lower $8 every day that goes by. Weekly time frame, 50-week moving average, held 2 weeks ago. It's holding again, and we're seeing a battle between the exponential resistance on the weekly and the 50-week moving average, and we're going to converge to a point either next week or the following week where we either close below the 50-week or we close above the exponential resistance, showing that the bulls have some life. So I'm going to be looking for a bounce attempt on the weekly, some green upside, a pullback, a higher low, and then a higher high. So right now we don't have a green week. We haven't seen a solid green week in WEED in 4 months at this point. So it's a very significant pullback that is going on. APH, same story. So we have our low, 528, higher low at 537. Bulls have to break 629 to get that higher low and higher high. Daily middle Bollinger Band is going to be a resistance, battling the week or the daily exponential resistance. Volume was pretty encouraging on Friday in terms of the amount of bull volume, just checking WEED. And it was a little increase in bull volume, but again, we must see the follow through and confirmation to have any hope of breaking the high of the last bounce attempt. ACB was halted for 2 days, very long halt. That was a little odd, but the news finally came out that they're buying the German company. We'll have to see how the market reacts to that on Monday. It really depends on the dilutive terms. If it's a bearish reaction, we're looking at 240, and there's a gap down at 233. If it's a bullish reaction, the bulls have to get over 257 to try and turn things around. You can see how tight we are on the daily time frame, and Monday is going to dictate short-term direction with the reaction that we do see to that news. Weekly time frame here, still a nice little higher low, higher high uptrend. So the bulls do have that going for them. It is a more bullish pattern than we just saw on APH and WEED, which on the weekly are setting lower highs and lower lows. But we do have a higher low pattern here on ACB, so they do have that going for them. EMC, this is a potential laggard situation in the sense that we saw that big bull bounce day Friday on WEED and APH, and we can be watching for EMC to break this tightening pattern, and we'll have to see which direction that occurs, but we can see the clear 200-day moving average support. We have held it 1, 2, 3 times. That is at 225 and ascending. and the middle Bollinger Band resistance is dropping down. That's at 236. So the scenario that is playing out is this tightening range is forming. Each day that goes by, there's less and less space between these moving averages. And early next week, we're going to either see a close above the middle Bollinger Band, and then we're going to be looking up at 241 to try and change the trend. And when I'm saying change the trend, I'm talking about the daily chart trend. The weekly chart has a lot more work to do. But we've got the level of 241 if we get over the middle Bollinger Band, and if we lose this 200-day support, we're looking down at 210. Weekly time frame for EMC, bulls are still just trying to form this higher low, 205, 210, and to change this weekly trend, we have to get over 338. So tons of upside is still needed to turn this thing around for the bulls longer term. EMH, also same story. So you can see how strong these correlations are in this market. So low of 106, higher low of 111, and the bulls have to break 131 to get our higher low and higher high. Nice solid volume, need follow through on Monday back to the upside, and then we have all these moving average resistances to look at. So even when we do make bull breaks, because of the pullback we've seen over the past 2 months, we have tons of resistance levels to be looking at. Every bounce attempt that topped out is a resistance level to be watching. EMH on the weekly time frame, holding support 103, 105, and we held it just by a couple pennies. If we lose 103 and $1, we're looking down at a pretty significant short-term bear break. So the bulls really want to defend that level. Good sign for the sector as a whole, HMMJ. I haven't decided how I'm going to play the sector. I'm either going to disperse my profits into the big boys, WEED and APH and those names, or I'll just do the HMMJ route and let the basket of stocks do it for me. But we do have a nice bullish candlestick and a close over the middle Bollinger Band for the first time since it really came into play with this recent IPO, and not even really calling it an IPO, but since it began trading. We have our higher lows here. So the bulls did change the short-term trend, 912, higher low of 927, and now we're looking at resistance of 10 psychological and 1050. You can see the clear lower highs. If we break 1050, then we'll be on to something for these bulls. Bullish reversal candlestick on the weekly time frame needs confirmation. We have not seen 2 solid green weeks in a row in the history of trading here, and that would go a long way in terms of giving the bulls some short-term confidence. Again, it's only May, about to be June. We know how many months we have to go here, and you better believe that there's shorts on this sector, without a doubt. I personally will never short this sector just because I don't feel like it, and because, you know, the risk to reward is not really there for me. There's other trading opportunities that I can play while being patient here. And these shorts are enjoying the lack of catalysts and the lack of volume and the lack of interest. But that being said, people like me are loving the 50% plus pullback from the highs. I would never go long on a position after the kind of run-up that we saw back in the fall of last year. I will absolutely go long on a position that consolidates 50% from a little mini bubble that did burst. So that's what my game plan is going forward. I have lots of people interested in longer term positions as well, and I'm now comfortable. But back here, I would never talk to people in my life, in my real life, in person. I would never tell them to go long on Canadian stocks up here. But now that we're cooling off, I am starting to put the feelers out and tell people about the 1 to 5 year investment of putting money into Canadian stocks towards the end of this year, and I do like the returns that are going to come from that. So we'll keep everything in tune here, keep it in check, keep it on watch. I appreciate you watching. Hope you have a good weekend.